Okay students, a very good afternoon to you. I'm going to start with the summary of the chapter, the part that we have covered, then we'll continue. Okay, I hope I'm audible to all of you. About this chapter, as you know that it has been written by Norman Colin Dexter, and he was a very famous writer, and he is specially known for his Morse series of Inspector Morse series of novels, and he has won many prestigious awards, especially for this particular work. Evans tries an O level. He's won an award for this also. And in this chapter, he talks about congenital kleptomaniac by the name of James Roderick Evans. And he was into prison, and thrice had he escaped from the prison. So tight security was there, and he wanted to appear for German O level examination. So all the precautions had been taken. His cell was bugged, and his nail file, his scissors, everything was taken away from him, and he was on his own, and all the arrangements were made for the smooth conduct of the examination. What sort of arrangements were made? Can anyone just elaborate upon the arrangements? What sort of arrangements were made for the smooth conduct of the examination?
Ma'am, all the things were taken from Evans, like the nail, that like the nail. All the things were taken from Evans, like the nail pin and all the and there was tight security, and the governor, and there was also a device which was located in the cell, which you had to record all the conversation that was taking place
Yes.
between the invite invigilator and the examinee.
Between the examinee and the invigilator. Yes, Vishwaji, if you want to add something, please.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, the governor, like the ma'am Jackson and ma'am, they and the others, ma'am, like Stevenson and Jackson, ma'am, they were continuously keeping an eye on the on ma'am, ma'am, on the priest, means who was the examiner, and
Priest
on
was the
even.
invigilator. Priest was the invigilator,
Sorry, ma'am.
and
Sorry,
Evans was the
invigilator. Yes, ma'am.
examinee.
And examiner, ma'am. They were keeping an regularly an eye on the priest that was a invigilator, and the and Evans who gave the, who was giving exam.
Who was giving the exam. Yes, they were closely monitoring the two of them, and still this governor had some nagging fear that Evans would try to escape, and because of this reason only he had made tight security arrangements, and everybody was just on alert, and everybody was looking into Evans only. And then the exam started at 9:25, 10 minutes behind schedule, and there was some correction. There was a correction slip that was sent, and earlier that it was informed that they had forgotten to place it inside the question paper. Okay, so we were on page number 78, I guess. Page number 78. Open page number 78 of your books. I will share the content also from here. Okay, we were on line third last line of the page. Will you please stop writing a V while? What do you mean by V while? Will you stop writing a V while? What is V while?
For a while.
Yes, for a while. Let me just try and present the screen. Stop writing a V while, Mr. Evans, and listen carefully. Candidates offering German 0211 should note the following correction. On page 3, line 15, the fourth word should read. Underline this, goldenen, not goldene, and the whole phrase will therefore read zum goldenen Loin and not zum goldene Loin. So this is something, a kind of a clue which had been sent for Evans, and in the form of a correction slip, and later on you would come to know how this proved to be helpful for him. Okay, and the examiner also, the person who had sent the correction slip to the invigilator is repeating the correction, and he says, I'll repeat that, and he repeated the entire thing. The governor listened and smiled. He had taken German in the sixth form himself, and he remembered all about the agreements of adjectives, and so did McCleary. by the sound of things, for the minister's pronunciation was most impressive. The governor was also very pleased with himself, because he had also studied German for a while in the 6th standard, and he was very happy that the invigilator who had come for that examination that day to invigilate, he also pronounced each and everything very clearly and effectively, and his pronunciation was impressive. But what about Evans? He probably didn't know what an adjective was, and he was wondering about Evans because the previous day he didn't ever know what good luck meant in German, and now he was just wondering whether he knew what an adjective was in German. The phone rang again. The magistrate's court. They needed a prison van and a couple of prison officers, remand case. And within 2 minutes, the governor was wondering whether that could be a hoax. So every time the phone rang, every time something new came in, he was always wondering whether it was something for Evans, for something to help him out to escape. And then he told himself not to be so silly. His imagination was beginning to run riot. What do you mean by this? His imagination was beginning to run riot. Yes? What do you mean by this?
Ma'am, can you repeat?
The last line. Read the last. His imagination was beginning to run riot. What do you mean by this? Bolo?
Ma'am, basically like his imagination was like that there should be something wrong which will happen.
Yes, and then he was thinking that maybe he was over imagining things. His imagination was beginning to run riot, means he was over imagining things. He was overreacting to each and everything. That is what he means to say. Yes, it's again a request to everybody. When some time has been given to you, you have to join within time. I cannot just keep on admitting students throughout the class. If the time is 12 o'clock and I sent you the link well in advance, 15 minutes before time, then you should have joined by now. Okay, if I'm presenting the screen, then I'm not able to admit students also. It is not possible to admit students in between while you are presenting. Okay, so join in time from next time onwards. Fine, then the next page. Yes, so for the first quarter of an hour, Stephens had dutifully peered through the peephole at intervals of 1 minute or so. So what is peering through the peephole? Peering through. He peered through the peephole.
And he was looking through the peer hole.
Yes, he was just looking through the peephole at the intervals of just 1 minute or so, and after that every 2 minutes. He also started getting bored because a single examinee was there and there was one invigilator. There was no conversation going on between the two. Initially, he kept on peeping at the intervals of 1 minute, and then it became every 2 minutes. At 10:45 a.m., everything was still all right as he looked through the peephole once more. It took 4 or 5 seconds, no more. What was the point? It was always more or less the same. Evans, his pen between his lips, sat staring straight in front of him towards the door, seeking, it seemed, some sorely needed inspiration from somewhere. So what was happening? Every time it was the same scene, but whenever he would peep through the hole, he would see Evans as if he was trying to get inspiration from somewhere, maybe from the window, maybe from the wall, or maybe because he didn't know he didn't even know a word of German. So there was pen between his lips. He was just staring here and there as if trying to get some inspiration from somewhere. And opposite him, McCleary, seated slightly askew from the table now. What do you mean by slightly askew from the table? What is this word? Askew from the table.
Ma'am, means a bit, ma'am, like away from table.
Yes, a bit away from the table now. His face in semi-profile, his hair, as Stephens had noticed earlier, amateurishly clipped pretty closely to the scalp. His eyes behind the pebble lenses peering short-sightedly at the Church Times. What is Church Times? We have discussed it earlier also. What was Church Times? It was a newspaper that he had brought in. Yes, that he had brought in. So his right index finger hooked beneath the narrow clerical collar, and the fingers of the left hand, the nails very carefully, meticulously manicured, slowly stroking the short black beard. So he was stroking his beard. He was reading into the paper, the Church Times, and he was always also looking the same whenever Stephens peeped through the peephole. And at 10:50 a.m., the receiver cracked to life, and the governor realized he had almost forgotten Evans for a few minutes. Again, at the sound of the bell, he could make out that now so much of time had passed and the examination was about to end. Okay, please, sir, but not about to end, but people are still joining in, but I'm not able to see them because we are sharing the content. He says, please, sir, there's a whisper. Please, sir, and he started speaking loudly. Would you mind if I put a blanket round my shoulders, sir? It's a bit parky in here, isn't it? So, what do you mean by it's a bit parky in here? What do you mean by this? When he said it's a bit parky in here, on page number 80, the very first line. It's a bit parky in here.
Cold or chilly. Ma'am, cold or chilly type.
Yes, it's a bit cold. He said it's a bit cold in here. And Simran Kaur Saini, you're very late. And Taranjeet Kaur also. Vansh Arora too. All these students were joining in now. They're very late. 15 minutes have already passed. So please join in time from next time onwards. From next time onwards, I won't be admitting students who... It's a bit parky in here. Okay, it's a bit cold in here. And then there was a silence. There's one on my bunk here, sir. He says one blanket is there on my bunk. So please, can you just hand me over that blanket because I'm feeling a bit cold. And McLeary says, be quick about it. And there was silence again. At 10:51 a.m., just read on from the book. In the meantime, I can just share. Somebody just read.
So at 10:51 a.m., Stephens was more than a little surprised to see a grey regulation blanket draped round Evans' shoulder, and he frowned slightly and looked at the examinee more closely. But Evans, the pen still between his teeth, was staring just as vacantly as before, blankly beneath a blanket. Should Stephens report the slight irregularity? Anything at all fishy, hadn't Jackson said? He looked through the peephole once again, and even as he did so, Evans pulled the dirty blanket more closely to himself. Was he planning a sudden Batman leap to suffocate McLeary in the blanket? Don't be daft. There was never any sun on this side of the prison. No heating either during the summer. No heating either during the summer months, and it could get quite chilly in some of the cells. Stephens decided to revert to his earlier every minute observation.
Yes. Okay, so he says, hold on. He says there's one on my bunk, and he wanted that blanket. And McLeary just asked him to take the blanket fast. So what happened at 10:51 a.m.? Stephens was more than a little surprised to see a grey regulation blanket draped round Evans' shoulders. So Stephens had no idea about it because it was the governor who was listening into the conversation that was going on, not Stephens. He was just peeping into through the peephole every 2 minutes. And he frowned slightly and looked at the examinee more closely. But Evans, the pen still between his teeth, was staring just as vacantly as before, blankly, beneath a blanket. Should he report the slight irregularity? What was this irregularity? What is the irregularity that he's talking about here?
Ma'am, that there was a blanket around Evans' shoulder.
Yes.
So he was talking about
Yes,
that. That it was unusual, like earlier it was not like that.
Yes, very good. Anything at all fishy? Hadn't Jackson said? Jackson ने क्या बोला था उसको? If you find anything fishy, just report in time. He looked through the peephole once again, and even as he did so, Evans pulled the dirty blanket more closely to himself. Was he planning a sudden Batman leap to suffocate McLeary in the blanket? क्या सोचा उसने? You know, even he was over imagining things. वो क्या सोच रहा था कि blanket he's wrapped the blanket around his shoulders, and suddenly he's going to leap like a Batman and he would suffocate McLeary in the blanket. But then he said, don't be daft, don't be silly, don't be crazy, don't be stupid. There was never any sun on this side of the prison, no heating either during the summer months. So it was very chilly this side of the prison, and it could get quite chilly in some of the cells. So he decided to revert. He said, okay, now what I will do, I will just revert to my every minute observation. And then what happened at 11:20? The receiver once more crackled across the silence of the governor's office, and McLeary informed Evans that only 5 minutes remained because the exam had started at 9:25, and it was hour's paper. So he said that just 5 minutes are left. 5 minutes are left, so you better do it fast. Okay, and the examination was almost over now, but something still gnawed away quietly in the governor's mind. Something gnawed away quietly. Think over the meaning of this. Raise your hands in the. You can just in the chat box. You can reply, or you can just raise your hands, because it doesn't give the Google doesn't give the option of raising hands otherwise. So in the chat you can raise your hands, or think over. You will not reply just like this. Okay, just think over the meaning of this. Something still gnawed away quietly in the governor's mind, and in the meantime I'll just share the next page with you. Yes, something still gnawed away quietly in the governor's mind. What do you mean by this? Yes, Khushpreet? Khushpreet?
Ma'am, it meant that governor was still doubtful about something, but he went to receive the call.
Yes, he was still doubtful, still thinking that something might go wrong, and but he then reached for the phone once more. At 11:22, Jackson shouted along the corridor to Stephens. The governor wanted to speak with him. Hurry, man! Stephens just picked up the phone apprehensively and listened to the rapidly spoken orders. What were the orders? Stephens himself was to accompany McCleary. Underline this. These were the orders by the governor that Stephens had to accompany McCleary to the main prison gates. Understood? Stephens personally was to make absolutely sure that the door was locked on Evans after McCleary had left the cell. Understood? Understood. So what were the orders? कि McCleary को gate तक कौन छोड़ के आएगा? Stephens, and he would personally monitor that the gates are locked immediately after McCleary moves out of the cell. At 11:25, the governor heard the final exchanges. Stop writing, please. Silence. Put your sheets in order and see they are correctly numbered. So these are the general instructions that are given to all the examinees before they hand over the papers. And he just said, then there is scraping of chairs and tables. What do you mean by scraping of chairs and tables?
मैम मतलब जो आवाज होती है जैसे मतलब
हाँ बिल्कुल जी बिल्कुल ये वाली आवाज. Okay, so then there is scraping of chairs and tables. Sharan Seni is joining now. Okay, then I think I don't have this page, so I'll just read it out from the book. This page is missing on my desktop. Okay, so there was scraping of chairs and tables, and then even just said thank you very much, sir, and all right, was it? Not too bad. Good, Mr. Stephens. Good, he said good. If you fared well, if you attempt well, then it's good. Then he called aloud to Mr. Stephens. Very loudly he called him. The governor heard the door clang for the last time. The examination was over. How did he get on, do you think? Asked Stephens as he walked beside McCleary to the main gate. So he was the one who had to accompany him to the main gate. So he just asked him, do you think he did well? He says, I cannot think he's distinguished himself, I'm afraid. Now underline this also, the next line. His Scots, page number 81, middle of the page. His Scots accent seemed broader than ever, and his long black overcoat, reaching almost to his knees, fostered the illusion that he had suddenly grown slimmer. So the way he looked, the kind of overcoat he was wearing, he was looking slightly different, and even his accent seems to be different. Okay, Stephens felt pleased, but Stephens was not thinking about it. He was feeling pleased. Why was he feeling pleased? Because the governor had asked him and not Jackson to see McCleary off the premises. He was very happy that he had just been recruited to the post. He had recently been appointed there, but the governor had preferred him over Jackson, who was the senior prison officer, okay, for just accompanying McCleary and towards the main gates. And all in the morning had gone pretty well, but something stopped him from making his way directly to the canteen for a belated cup of coffee. So when he returned after seeing McCleary, he said, okay, what I would do, I just want to take one last look at Evans. It was like a program he had seen on TV about a woman who could never really convince herself that she had locked the front door when she had gone to bed. Often she had got up 12, 15, sometimes 20 times to check the bolts. So this happens with many of the people. What do they do normally? So before sleeping at night, they would check, they would recheck whether they had bolted the doors or not. Or if if your family is going for a trip outside and you're locking the doors for days together, then you confirm and reconfirm by going inside whether you have turned off the knob of the gas, or whether you have turned off the fan and all. So it was the same thing that was happening with Stephens. He wanted to have a last look, and even though he had himself bolted the cell door, but he still wanted to check it, and he wanted to confirm. And he re-entered D wing, made his way along to Evan's cell, and opened the peephole once more. Oh no, Christ, no. There, sprawled back in Evan's chair, was a man. For a semi-second, Stephens thought it must be Evans, a grey regulation blanket slipping from his shoulders, the front of his closely cropped, irregularly tufted hair awash with fierce red blood, which had dripped already through the small black beard, and was even now spreading horribly over the white clerical collar and down into the black clerical front. So what did he see? What did he see? Whom did he see? And what did he see? Raise your hands. Who would explain this? Whom did he see and what did he see when he went in to have a last look at Evans? Yes? Yes, Khushpreet. Khushpreet, speak up.
Ma'am, he saw that a person was on Ivan's chair, and it was not Evans, it was the churchman, and
was a priest,
the
yes.
blanket, and the blanket was on his shoulders, and his head was injured, from which the blood was coming down.
The blood was dripping, it was oozing out, and it had already spread horribly over his collar too. Okay, so this is what he saw, and he was shocked to see that, and he got afraid or frightened also. So he shouted wildly for Jackson. Just a minute. He shouted wildly for Jackson, and the words appeared to penetrate the curtain of blood that wailed McCleary's ears. The blood was, it was flowing so heavily, it was all through his collar, through his ears, down to the collars, for the minister's hand felt feebly for a handkerchief from his pocket. So he was feeling very weak, a lot of blood had been lost, so he was searching a handkerchief from his pocket and held it to his bleeding head. He was bleeding profusely, and the blood was seeping slowly through the white linen. So it was flowing down heavily. He gave a long, low moan. What is giving a long, low moan? What is giving a long, low moan? Yes? What is giving a long, low moan?
Ma'am, he cried of pain.
Yes, because
He
of
cried
pain, he
due
just
to
cried
pain.
due to pain. And he tried to speak, but his voice trailed away, and by the time Jackson had arrived and dispatched Stephens to ring the police and the ambulance, the handkerchief was a sticky, squelchy wodge of cloth. What do you mean by sticky, squelchy wodge of cloth? It was totally soaked with blood, and that is why it had become sticky and squelchy. McCleary slowly raised himself, his face twisted tightly with pain. He was so much in pain, and he said, "Dinna worry about the ambulance man. I'm all right. Get the police. I know where he said, I know where he had gone. So just get the police. Don't worry about the ambulance. I would give you directions where Evans had gone." He closed his eyes, and another drip of blood splashed like a huge red raindrop on the wooden floor. He was bleeding so much, so heavily. His hand felt along the table. He found the German question paper, and he grasped it tightly in the blood-stained hand. He said, "Get the governor. I know where Evans. I want to speak to the governor. Just get him. I would tell you all the directions where to head to." Almost immediately, what happened? Sirens were sounding, prison officers barked orders, Puzzled prisoners pushed their way along the corridors. They just wanted to see what had happened. Doors were banged and bolted, and phones were ringing everywhere. Sirens were sounding, phones were ringing everywhere. There were hustle and bustle because Evans had vanished. He had escaped the fourth time. And within a minute, McLeary, with Jackson and Stephens supporting him on either side, his face now streaked and caked with drying blood. The blood had dried now, and he was greeted in the prison yard by the governor, perplexed and grim. What do you mean by perplexed and grim? What is perplexed and grim?
Perplexed means confused or like puzzled.
Yes, and grim means very sad. No, he was very sad. He was very solemn because this was the thing that he had dreaded, and this was the thing that had happened again. Okay, in spite of all the precautions, in spite of such a tight security, in spite of the cell being bugged and 2 prison officers closely monitoring him, so much of security, so much of doors and locked and bolted and everything, still Evans had managed to escape, and he couldn't understand why. He didn't know how he had managed to do that. Okay, next. He says, we must get you to the hospital immediately. I just know. He says, you are in a serious condition. So much of blood had been lost, so you need to be rushed to the hospital at once. You have called the police? Yes, they are on their way. But he says McLeary was more concerned about the police than the ambulance. I'm all right, he said. I'm all right. Look here. Awkwardly, he opened the German question paper and thrust it before the governor's face. It's there. Do you see what I mean? He says, just look into the question paper. The clue is there. The hint is there. Everything is there. Just look into the paper. And the governor looked down and he realized what McLeary was trying to tell him. A photocopied sheet had been carefully and had been cleverly superimposed over the last originally blank page of the question paper. What do you mean by this? What do you mean by this paragraph? A photocopied sheet had been carefully and cleverly, and Khushpreet will not answer, somebody else has to answer now. A photocopied sheet, very simple, just explain it in your own words. A photocopied sheet had been carefully and cleverly superimposed over the last originally blank page of the question paper. Yes, anyone?
Ma'am, may I tell?
Yes.
Ma'am, that a photocopy of the sheet was pasted on the last side, so he got a clue from there of the question paper.
Yeah, he means to say that a page was wherein all the clues were given. It was pasted on the last page of the question paper, and that last page of the question paper was originally blank. ठीक है, वो ब्लैंक था पहले, पर उसके ऊपर एक बड़ी क्लेवरली एक शीट को, फोटोकॉपी शीट को पेस्ट किया गया था, जिसके अंदर सारे क्लूज थे दैट व्हाट इंस्ट्रक्शंस Evans had to follow, what he had to do. You see what they've done, Governor? You see his voice trailed off. Why was his voice trailing off? Because he was in a lot of pain. As the governor dredging the layers of long neglected learning. So even he had learned German at one point of time. So he was just trying to recall what was written in German over that photocopied sheet. He just willed himself to translate the German text before him. So this is all that has been written in these 3 lines. They have been written in German, but the explanation is there, in translation is there, and it says, you must follow the plan. This is how he had been how he had been decoding the clues, okay, and trying to read, trying to understand German. So he says, you must follow the plan, already something. So something क्यों आ रहा है? क्योंकि उसको सारा नहीं पढ़ा जा रहा, उसको सारा समझ में नहीं आ रहा. So that is why something बीच में आ रहा है. The vital point in time is 3 minutes before the end of the examination. And you must remember, you also must be knowing that just 3 minutes before the examination, what had happened at 11:22? What had happened at 11:22?
Ma'am, he was having blankets over his shoulders.
नहीं, blanket तो पहले हो गया था. Just 3 minutes before the examination was to get over, a phone call had been received through the supposedly from the examination board. Okay, no, not from the examination board, from the governor, telling Stephens to accompany McLeary to the to see him off
Yes,
towards
ma'am.
the gate. ये हुआ था 11:22
Yes,
पे,
ma'am.
ठीक है? So
Yes,
just
yes,
3
ma'am.
minutes before the end of the examination, but something, he cannot understand each and everything, but he could just make it out. And it's written, don't hit him too hard. Remember, he's a minister. So what are these instructions? These instructions are for whom? For Evans, that he is not supposed to hit the priest too hard because he's a minister, and don't overdo the Scots accent. ठीक है, स्कॉट्स एक्सेंट को ज़्यादा आपने ओवर ड्रामेटाइज नहीं करना. नाउ यू मस्ट हैव ऑल्सो रिमेंबर्ड दैट स्टीवन स्टीफन्स वाज अकम्पनिंग मैक्लेरी टू द गेट्स. जब वो उससे बात कर रहा था कि उसका पेपर कैसा हुआ, तो उसका स्कॉट्स एक्सेंट थोड़ा डिफरेंट था. ठीक है, ये सब चीज़ें हमें पता है. ओके, सो देन व्हाट हैपेंड, अ फास्ट अप्रोचिंग सायरन, fast approaching siren wailed to its crescendo. What do you mean by crescendo, bache? What is crescendo?
I'm increasing the sound of something, like
Yes,
intensity
increasing
of
the
it.
sound. It's a siren wailed to its peak. It increased in its sound. The great doors of the prison yard were pushed back, and a white police car squealed to a jerky halt beside them. बड़ी तेजी से चलती हुई एक पुलिस कार आई और उसने वहाँ पे आके ब्रेक लगाई. Detective Superintendent Carter, this is another character in the play, he swung himself out of the passenger seat and he just saluted the governor. What the hell is happening, sir? And turning to McCleary, Christ, who has hit him? And he said, यहाँ पे हो क्या रहा है? और इतनी बुरी तरह से, when he saw McCleary injured so much, so he says, who is the one who has hit him so badly? But McCleary cut across whatever explanation the governor might have given. He just said Elsfield way. वो बोलते कोई explanation देने की जरूरत नहीं है, मुझे कैसे चोट लगी, मुझे क्या हुआ. Just head directly towards Elsfield way, officer. I know where Evans. I said, I know. I'm the only one who knows where Evans is, and I'm giving you directions. He was breathing heavily. He just leaned, he just bent for support against the side of the car, where the imprint of his hand was left in tarnished crimson. So when he just tried to hold the try to take the support of the car, and he just put his hand over there, the imprint was blood red because his hand was soaked with blood. Crimson is blood red color. Okay, in bewilderment, Carter looked to the governor for guidance. Carter को कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा. He just arrived into the scene. वो क्या, उसको समझ ही नहीं आ रहा वो क्या है. And he said, what? मतलब would anyone tell me what is going on? And the governor just told him, take him with you if you think he'll be all right. He's the only one who seems to know what is happening. So governor is equally perplexed. He's equally confused. वो कहता है मुझे भी कुछ नहीं पता. But this person, the priest, is the only one who seems to know what is happening. So please take him with you for guidance. Carter opened the back door and he helped McCleary inside, and within a few seconds, what happened? The car leaped away in a spurt of gravel. So it just sped away, leaving a lot of dust behind. Okay, so Field Way, McCleary had said, and there it was staring up at the governor. So they have gone away. Detective Superintendent Carter has gone away with the priest McCleary, and now what is the governor doing? He's left behind and he's just looking at the last few lines of the German text. From Elsfield Way, drive to the Headington roundabout, where, yes, of course, the examinations board was in Elsfield Way. अब उसको ध्यान में आ रहा है, वो बोलता है हाँ क्यों नहीं, Elsfield Way में तो है examination board, and someone from the board must have been involved. It is not only Evans could not manage the entire thing himself. Somebody from the examination board is also involved in the escape plan from the very beginning. Because if you look at the question paper, the correction slip, the superimposed photocopied sheet, everything gives us a clue that somebody from the examination board is a part of the escape plan. So the governor turned to Jackson and Stephens. Okay, and he says, I don't need to tell you what's happened, do I? His voice, it sounded almost calm in its scathing contempt. What do you mean by scathing contempt? What is scathing contempt? What is contempt? Yes?
Disrespect.
Contempt is full of hatred, disrespect. And what is scathing contempt?
Ma'am, it means that means very much like severe disrespect.
Yes, he was full of hatred for the two of them, and he was full of disrespect and dislike for the two of them. He was angry. He was full of anger at the two of them, Jackson and Stephens. And which one of you two morons was it who took Evans for a nice little walk to the main gates and waved him bye bye? अब वो गुस्सा निकाल रहा है स्टीफन्स के ऊपर कि तुम दोनों में से कौन बेवकूफ था जो स्टीफन्स को गेट तक बाय बाय करके आया, छोड़ के आया. And then Stephens, who was feeling so happy that the governor had chosen him to do so. Now he was stammering. वो बहुत घबरा गया कि उसकी तो अभी नई नौकरी है, नहीं उसको नौकरी से ना निकाल दे. So he was so embarrassed, and he was so afraid, he was so frightened. He said, "It was me, and just like you told me, sir, I could have." कहते आपने तो मुझे orders दिए थे, okay? What? Just like I told you, okay? I'm not able to read it. Can you read the last line? I told you, you say what the hell? वो बोलता क्या बात कर रहे हो आप? मैंने कब बोला? मैंने किसको बोला? और मैंने क्या instructions दिए? Okay, so we'll continue. When you rang, sir, and told me to. तो आपने तो फोन किया था 3 मिनट पहले. When was that? The governor's voice was a whiplash now. Now he was so angry, he was so frustrated. कहता मैंने कोई फोन ही नहीं किया. किसकी बात कर रहे हो? You know, sir, about 20 past 11, just before. You blithering idiot, man! It wasn't me who rang you. Don't you realize? But now, what was the use? So बहुत गुस्सा आ रहा है, पर अब कोई फायदा नहीं है. Evans had already escaped. He had used the telephone at that time, but only to try to get through to the examinations board. Governor had definitely used the telephone, but not to give any kind of instructions to Stephens, but to get through to the examinations board for the last time. But that effort was also unsuccessful. He shook his head in growing despair, and disappointed he was, and he turned on to the senior prison officer. As for you, Jackson, how long have you been pretending you've got a brain? Well, I'll tell you something, Jackson. Your skull's empty, absolutely empty. So he's letting out his anger at the two prison officers, and he's feeling helpless, disappointed, dejected, that in spite of all the precautions and all the arrangements made, Evans had made a fool out of them and he had escaped. It was Jackson who had spent 2 hours in Evans' cell the previous evening, and it was Jackson who had confidently reported that there was nothing hidden away there, nothing at all. And yet, Evans had somehow managed to conceal not only a false beard, a pair of spectacles, a dog collar, and all the rest of his clerical paraphernalia, but also some sort of a weapon with which he had given McCleary such a terrible blow across the head. So he was letting out his anger at Jackson now, because Jackson had thoroughly searched the bunk, his cell and everything, and he had satisfactorily reported to the governor that nothing was there. But in spite of this, how Evans had managed to conceal so many things. क्या कुछ तो छुपा लिया था, a false beard, a pair of spectacles, a clerical collar, और सारा clerical paraphernalia जो वो पहन के गया, and also a kind of a weapon with which he had hit the priest so hard, so terribly. Okay. Next. A prison van backed alongside, but the governor made no immediate move. He looked down again. Now he was again trying to understand, trying to follow the clues, trying to decode, the hints that were there in the question paper, to the Headington roundabout, where you go straight over and make your way to New Graben. New Graben? Where on earth? ये कौन सी जगह है? New something. New grave? Never heard of it. There was a war grave somewhere near Reading. But no, it was probably a code word, and then it hit him. No, it's Newbury. God, yes. Newbury was a pretty big sort of a place. He rapped out his orders to the driver. Immediately he gave his orders. The moment he felt that he had decoded what was written in the paper and Newbury was the place, he immediately gave the orders to the driver. St. Aldate's police station, and step on it. Take Jackson Stephens here, and when you get there, ask for Bell. Chief Inspector Bell को वहाँ पे जाके Milo got that. He leaped the stairs to his office 3 at a time. इतनी तेजी से ये 3 सीढ़ियाँ एक साथ चढ़ता हुआ वो भागा. And he got Bell on the phone immediately. और immediately उसने किसको phone किया? Chief Inspector Bell को. And put the facts before him. ठीक है? And well, get him, sir, said Bell. We will get him, not well. We'll get him, sir, said Bell. We'll get him with a bit of luck. We will definitely get Evans. The governor sat back and lit a cigarette. Ye gods, what a beautifully, even the governor is impressed by Evans' intelligence, his ingenuity, his cleverness, and he says, what a beautifully laid plan it had all been. What a clever fellow Evans was. Careless, but he had been careless because he had left that question paper behind, but then they all make their mistakes somewhere along the line. Well, almost all of them. And that's why very, very shortly Mr. Clever Evans would be back inside doing his term once more. So we are soon going to, because he had been, even the plan was a master plan, and it was almost a foolproof kind of a plan, but still because he had committed this mistake of leaving the question paper behind, we would soon have Evans with us in the cell again. Okay, this is what he thought. The phone on his desk erupted in a strident burst, and Superintendent Carter informed him that McCleary had spotted Evans driving off along Elsfield Way. तो ये Superintendent Carter किसको लेके गया था? McCleary को. तो उसने बोला कि McCleary ने देखा उसको. And they had got the number of the car all right and had given chase immediately. फटाफट से उस कार के पीछे वो चले गए, but they had lost him at the Headington roundabout. वहाँ पे जाके वो गुम गई कार. But and he must have doubled back into the city. No, said the governor quietly. No, he's on his way. No, he said to Superintendent Carter, he's not come back again to the city, but he's on his way to Newbury. He explained his reasons for believing so. उसने सारा बताया कि मैंने कैसे decode कर लिया, and I'm sure, 100% sure that he is on his way to Newbury. And he left it at that. It was a police job now, not his. वो बोलता कि अब मेरा काम खत्म है, अब पुलिस पकड़ लेगी उसको और वापस ले आएंगी. He was just another good for a giggle, gullible governor, that was all. What do you mean by this? He was just another good for a giggle, gullible governor. Think over it and raise your hands.
Ma'am, maybe it means that the governor was easy to persuade.
Easy to be befooled.
And
Yes, somebody who could easily believe in things, good for a giggle. Somebody, people could laugh at him and could make him make a fool out of him. Okay, so that is what he was thinking of himself. Okay, giggle is a kind of a laugh, and gullible is, you know the meaning of gullible. Somebody who easily believes on others. By the way, Carter, I hope you managed to get McCleary to the hospital all right. He just wanted to confirm about McCleary because he was concerned about him. And why was he concerned about him? Because he was injured so badly and so much of blood had been lost. So he says, I hope you have managed to get McCleary to the hospital all right. I hope you have dropped him to the hospital. Okay, and yes, he's in the Radcliffe now. Really groggy he was. So I'll open this page again. The last page says, yes, he's in the Radcliffe now. Really groggy he was when we got to the examination offices, and they ran for the ambulance from there. Okay, what do you mean by really groggy he was? What is really
Weak.
Yes, he
Very
was
weak.
and he was appearing to be very weak. Why? Because so much of blood had been lost. The governor rang the Radcliffe a few minutes later and asked for the accident department. McCleary, you say? Yes, he's a parson. I don't think there's anyone. Yes, there is. You will find out one of your ambulances picked him up from Elsfield way about. तो जब उसने फ़ोन किया रैडक्लिफ हॉस्पिटल में, तो वहाँ पे तो उन्होंने बोला कि कोई इस नाम से आया ही नहीं है. तो वो बोलते कि ज़रूर आया होगा क्योंकि आपकी एक एम्बुलेंस उसको एल्सफील्ड वे से लेने के लिए गई थी. Oh, that, yes, we sent an ambulance all right, but when we got there, the fellow had gone. No one seemed to know where he was. and just vanished, not a sign. वो बोलते कि बिल्कुल हमारी एम्बुलेंस वहाँ पे गई थी, हमने भेजी थी, पर जैसे ही एम्बुलेंस वहाँ पे पहुंची वो वहाँ से जा चुका था और किसी को पता ही नहीं था कि वो कहाँ गया. He just vanished and not even a sign of him, not even a trace of him could be seen over there. But the governor was no longer listening, and the truth seemed to hit him with an almost physical impact somewhere in the back of his neck. So what was this truth that he was talking about? What is this truth that the governor is talking about? And can you think of it? Can you think of it? What is the truth that the governor is talking about? He says he was no longer listening, and the truth seemed to hit him with an almost physical impact somewhere in the back of his neck. What was the truth? Raise your hands.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
that
Just hold on, Pushpit, hold on. Yes, Yashika from D1.
He realized that McLeary was in the plan with Evans.
Your voice is not clear, Yashika. It is cracking. Can somebody else answer? Somebody else from the class? Raise your hands. Apart from Kushpreet, apart from Vishwajit, somebody else. What could be the truth that the governor found out? Ronit says McLeary was involved in the plan. Definitely McLeary was involved, yes. But what was the truth that dawned upon him? Bache, mute your mics. Somebody with whose name starts with S. Mute your mics. Yes? So what was the truth that came out? The truth that came out was not only that McLeary was involved in the plan, but it was actually Gushin Kaur. Stop presenting Gushin Kaur. Stop fiddling with your phone and all during the class. So it means that the truth that was disclosed to him, that he came to know about, was that it was Evans dressed as McLeary who was left behind. Okay, the person whom they were thinking to be McLeary, whom they were thinking to be the one who was bleeding profusely, it was not McLeary, but it was who was he? It was Evans, and you would come to know about it as you would read on. Okay, so I just read one or two more lines. And a quarter of an hour later, they found the Reverend S. McLeary securely bound and gagged in his study in Broad Street. He had been there, he said, since 8:15 a.m. when two men had called Anne. और जब उन्होंने जाके देखा रेवरेंड मैक्लेरी के घर पे, तो वो तो वहाँ से गया ही नहीं था, बिकॉज ही हैड बीन सिक्योरली बाउंड एंड गैग्ड. उसको तो हाथ पाँव बांध के वहाँ पे रखा गया था. कब से वो वहाँ पर है? सुबह 8:15 बजे से, जब कोई फ़ोन आया था. दो लोग आए थे एंड दे हैड एक्चुअली गैग्ड हिम, दे हैड बाउंड हिम, एंड ही वाज केप्ट इन हिज ओन house. He was not allowed to move out. Okay, inquiries in Newbury throughout the afternoon produced nothing at all, and by tea time everyone in the prison knew what had happened. Okay, this is what I had told you. It had not been Evans impersonating McLeary. Underline this. This is a very important development in the story. It had not been Evans impersonating McLeary who had walked out. It had been Evans impersonating McLeary who had stayed in. Okay, so जिसको स्टीफन्स बाहर छोड़ के आया था वो इवंस नहीं था, बट इवंस कौन था? जो पीछे रह गया था. ठीक है, इवंस impersonating McLeary, and McLeary was not actually McLeary, he was also an accomplice of Evans. ठीक है, वो ओरिजिनल McLeary तो अपने घर में ही बंधा पड़ा था शुरू से. So you will have to go through this part for better understanding. We'll discuss the question answers of it next time when we'll finish up the chapter. But you can submit your work to me by Friday सुबह तक दे देना आप मुझे. और आज मैं क्वेश्चंस आपको भेज दूंगी. जितने पार्ट हम कर चुके हैं उसके क्वेश्चन तो आप कर लेना कंप्लीट. जो पार्ट रह गया वो हम कल खत्म कर लेंगे. ठीक है, only 1 or 2 pages are left. We'll complete the chapter tomorrow and from next time onwards. So that is all for today. Have a good day and bye bye.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, ma'am.
okay.